Let's go back in time, a little Kentucky Derby history lesson for you. This is the 2008 winner of the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness Stakes, who many thought would go on to win the Triple Crown for the first time in over 30 years since affirmed in 1978. Although in the final race of the Belmont Stakes, closing into the last three-quarter mile, it was there that Big Brown decided to pull back on the reins and not continue to race. And so the wait for the 30-year Triple Crown had to be continued until 2015, when American Pharoah would be the first horse in over 37 years to win the Triple Crown. 3 years later, Justify would go on to win the Triple Crown in 2018. Since then, we have not had a Triple Crown winner. But what many don't remember on that day of the Kentucky Derby is that a filly took second place. Who was that filly? 8 Bells, the winner of the Marshall Washington Stakes, the Honeybee Stakes, and the Fantasy Stakes. A very beautiful horse, and the filly, like I told you, that gave it her all, but came up short of winning the Kentucky Derby. It was also her last race that day. It's what many people forget. In 2008, the camera coverage was not as good as it probably is now, and there wasn't 45,000 cameras that were able to pick up what happened, or could have seen what happened after she finished the race about an eighth of a mile after the photo finish. We're going to take a look back in time to the final three-quarter mile and final stretch, and just have a look back on history and how fast this race was run that day.
8 Bells in front, and there goes Big Brown. Big Brown on the far outside. He's catapulting past horses. One by one now. He was fifth just a moment ago, and now he's second as they come toward the top of the stretch. Tanabat Cocky is also right there, and then Colonel John comes on the scene right as the field turns for home at the top of the stretch, and it is Big Brown who rolls open now to a 3-length lead. 8 Bells is second to capture the glory. It's their Tanabat Cocky is fourth, and their final foray to the Kentucky Derby, and it's going to be Big Brown bounding home to a convincing win, and the run for the roses. It is Big Brown by 5 on the...
Here is the great photo of Kent Desmorough lifting his whip in the air as Big Brown crosses the line, and 8 Bells is right behind. Like I said, an eighth of a mile after the photo finish, tragedy struck. The scene, what I can remember, was not caught on video camera, but to a photographer's eyes, they caught what was going on. And you can see that there is a problem with 8 Bells' legs. The vet deemed her to have 2 compound fractures in both of her front legs, which at that point, it is very hard for a horse to continue on living, as it cannot stand at all. It was there where 8 Bells was euthanized right there on the track at Churchill Downs. A writer from the Washington Post would go on to write about 8 Bells and saying this: "She ran with the heart of a locomotive on champagne glass ankles." What seemed like a great win for Big Brown that day resulted in sadness and losing a horse on the racetrack. It took a lot of time for people to really kind of get back and take a deep breath for the next races going on, because seeing this was very tough to watch. Barbaro suffered a compound fracture in one leg in 2006, but seeing 2 compound fractures in 2 legs is not very cool to see at all. Now, for those of you wondering where they buried 8 Bells, she was buried in the Churchill Downs Garden area and memorialized in the Kentucky Derby Museum. Her memorial reads this: 8 Bells, she will live in our hearts, the magnificent steel gray who gave her all for the first Saturday in May. So that is a beautiful memorial to her, as well as this beautiful statue that I hope to see one day. So, very beautiful memorial for those who gave their all on the track. I know it's just an animal, but animals are still important to us too. But it's truly a reminder of how precious thoroughbred racing can be. This is the Barbaro statue. You can't miss it, right in front of Churchill Downs. I hope to see as well one day, but I've seen it in pictures and through videos of the Kentucky Derby. But I'll just say this is the tough part of the business that nobody wants to ever deal with, but sometimes it happens. But that was the story of the 2008 Kentucky Derby that many people don't remember.